Hello and welcome to the Music GCSE YouTube channel. This is part of a video series based on rhythms of the world. And in this video, we're going to focus on Bhangra music. So what will you learn from this video? We're going to take a look at where Bhangra music comes from, typical musical features of Bhangra music, the instruments used, and how technology is used within modern Bhangra music. We will also look at a suitable artist for Bhangra. So where does Bhangra music come from? Bhangra music started off as a traditional style of music which came from the Punjab region of India. Traditional Bhangra is a very lively style of music, and it would be performed at harvest time to help celebrate a good harvest. Traditional Bhangra would also be used for other celebrations, and it was most often accompanied by dancing. The dancing would be heavily choreographed, meaning that all the dance routines were learned and not just made up on the spot. However, modern Bhangra started here in the UK and is a mix of traditional Bhangra and Western pop and dance music. Modern Bhangra is also very upbeat and lively, which has a lot of choreographed dancing associated with it. Modern Bhangra would also be used at certain celebrations. It also wouldn't sound out of place being played at certain nightclubs due to its mix with Western pop and dance music. Modern Bhangra is a fusion of different musical styles. And like I've already said, those different styles are usually traditional Bhangra and Western pop music. So let's take a look at the typical musical features of Bhangra music. Bhangra music will usually use a 4/4 time signature. It will also use a verse and chorus structure. It will have a fast tempo. It will use a simple diatonic harmony, and it will usually use riffs. Now, before we go any further, there's just a few things in there that I want to explain just to make sure you have a good understanding. The word diatonic means that the song will only use chords and notes that belong to the key, so it won't wander outside of the key, it won't borrow chords or notes from any other key. And a riff is a short and catchy melody that's usually used in things like pop music to make the music more catchy and memorable. So far, all of those features that we've spoken about have a lot in common with pop music. There's one more musical feature we're going to talk about, which comes from traditional Bhangra, and that's the use of the chal rhythm. The chal rhythm is really important in Bhangra music, so let's take a look at it. The chal rhythm is a traditional rhythm used both in traditional and modern Bhangra. It is usually performed on the dole drum, however other instruments can also mimic this rhythm as well. Let's take a little listen to what the chal rhythm sounds like. The chal rhythm is really important in Bhangra music. If Bhangra music comes up on your exam and you're asked a question about the rhythms used, you need to talk about the chal rhythm. Now let's take a look at the instruments used in Bhangra music, and we'll look at the traditional instruments first. Now there could be quite a wide range of traditional instruments, but we'll focus on three of the most common. First of all is the tumbi, which is a simple string instrument with just one string. The next instrument we're going to look at is the harmonium, which is this keyboard-looking instrument here. The harmonium is actually a wind instrument, and it works by pulling that paddle that you see at the back in and out, and as you pull on that panel, it both pushes and pulls air through the harmonium. And as you hold down and press different keyboard keys, it opens and closes different valves to produce different notes. And the last traditional instrument we're going to talk about is the dole drum, which we mentioned earlier on in the video. Now the dole drum is a double-headed drum, meaning we can hit it on both sides. The one side of the drum will be tuned to a low pitch, and the other side of the drum will be tuned to a high pitch. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, the dole drum will usually be playing the chal rhythm. I will put links to other YouTube videos in the description to this video where you'll be able to see and hear these different instruments being performed. Now these are traditional Bhangra instruments, and yes, we will hear these in traditional Bhangra. We will also most likely hear these instruments in modern Bhangra. However, in modern Bhangra we'll also have some modern instruments in there as well, such as drum kit, bass guitars, synthesizers. There could be a whole range and host of modern and traditional instruments used within modern Bhangra. There'll also be a range of different music technology used within modern Bhangra as well. So let's talk about music technology. Music technology plays a really big role in modern Bhangra, and if Bhangra was to come up on your exam, you are most likely going to face a question based around music technology, so you need to know at least a few ways in which music technology is most likely used within modern Bhangra. So we're going to look at the common forms of music technology that Bhangra music might use, the first one being a synthesizer. A synthesizer is basically a keyboard which will replicate or synthesize the sounds of other instruments. Another way in which music technology is most likely used is electronic drum beats, either computer generated or generated by a drum machine. Bhangra music might also use sampling. Sampling is where a songwriter or composer might take part of a song that already exists, chop that song up, loop it, they can manipulate it, change the pitch, change the speed, and then use that as a basis for their own song, adding their own layers over the top of it. And the final piece of music technology we're going to talk about is multi-tracking. Now, if you've used some computer software such as GarageBand, Logic, Cubase, Soundtrap, you will have experienced multi-tracking. Multi-tracking is basically computer software that lets you layer different layers of music on top of one another. Now let's take a look at the vocals in Bhangra music. Firstly, the vocals will usually be performed in Punjabi. There will be lots of melisma, which, like we've said in previous videos, is a vocal technique where we can stretch a word or a syllable out over multiple notes. The vocals will usually use microtonal intervals. They'll be very expressive with changes in dynamics, and Bhangra music will usually have backing vocals on the chorus, and that will usually give shouts of "hoi," just like the music in the background of this video. Bhangra music is another style of music where you need to be prepared and know the name of a suitable artist. I'm going to teach you two: Malkit Singh or Punjabi MC. It's up to you which one of these you remember, but you do need to remember one of them. If you get a question in your exam where you are asked to identify a suitable artist for Bhangra music, put in either Malkit Singh or Punjabi MC will get you the mark for that question. So now hopefully we've got a basic understanding of Bhangra music. Why don't you pause the video and test yourself? Can you answer the questions on the screen now? If you haven't already, click the logo to subscribe to this channel or click to have a look at one of our other videos. You can always use the revision resources at the GCSE Music website at www.musicgcse.co.uk.